Hello, everybody.
Sir Moderator.
Anywhere, please sit down. Good morning. Good morning. Bonjour. All right, everybody. My name is Danilo. I'm from the Morningstar Ventures team. And today we have an amazing panel. 3 very French and very strong entrepreneurs on the panel here. Very excited to have them here and to learn with them how Web3 and the Metaverse is going to impact the French ecosystem. On my left here, we have Owen Simonin, Monsieur Hasheur. I believe everybody knows him by now, of course. We have Monsieur David Princay, the managing director of Binance France. And then on the end, we have Monsieur Fabrice Dautriat from Ledger. He's the head of platform and developer ecosystem. So, very good. Amazing. All right, we're going to get started actually with David. I believe your office is just across the street, right?
Yeah.
How was the walk this morning? Good?
It was a lot of traffic.
Oh, really? Great. All right, so Binance, of course, huge name in the ecosystem, always since the history of Elrond. So that's really amazing to have you here. We had the conversation yesterday on the stage. We had Jean-Noël Barrot, the French Minister of Digital Transformation for the French government. And he talked about how much he and the government are pushing the crypto ecosystem here in this country, right? You guys have done the same with Binance. I think it's really amazing to see what you have done in the short time of space since you've bet on France. So my question to you, on behalf of everybody here, is what do you think are the implications both on a short term and long term for this push in the French ecosystem for crypto?
I think we reach a critical first phase where we can say that first phase is activated and second phase is now in process and in progress. And the success of the second phase will be key. On the first phase, it was about attracting good company, competitive ecosystem inside France. But now we need to arise and we need to create the app, the element, having the companies that implement themselves beautifully. And I would say that first phase was more about, those big protocol and big ecosystem like us, but also competitors. Second phase is going to be about the vivacity and the economical growth potential of the startup in France that need now to prove something to those ecosystem. So it's going to change the game, and it's also a challenge. We don't need to say, like, you can succeed in one phase and lose the other one. And at the end of the day, you're going to lose the game. So now it's critical to have, like, the next phase that enclenches itself beautifully.
Amazing. What is phase 3? That's quite intriguing here.
Maybe a movie.
Okay, I guess we will not get to know this today, but thank you so much. All right, the next question is for Fabrice. Where are we today with this process, with this stage, right? So David told us what the plan is for Binance, but where do you think the French ecosystem stands as of now?
Well, the French ecosystem as a whole has a lot of champions in Web3 today already. And just look at the guys here, okay, you all know them. But the fact that Binance is actually investing so much in France right now is actually a proof that Paris is a place to be right now. We have already a lot of dApps that are French-based. Some of them are DeFi-oriented, other ones are more NFT-oriented. And I think there is a deeply rooted philosophy in France about freedom and self-ownership. So all of these values that we always talk about when we talk about Web3 and the Metaverse, we can actually feel them very profoundly anchored in the French spirit. The implications, as you asked just before, I think are really, really important for the decades to come. If we screw this up, we will lose again, like we lost with the internet, a few decades ago. So it's really important that we play this right, and this means that we should not, restrict innovation. And everyone I heard talking is actually saying the same thing. Okay, everyone is like, yes, we are still experimenting. There is not a single product right now that is fully, ready for mass adoption. So it's still an experiment. And I believe it will remain an experiment for maybe the next 5 or 10 years still. What's important is that we do not restrict experimentation. And so right now it's all about letting people try and maybe fail, but at least let them try.
Understood. Interesting. May I actually follow up on this question, still with you, Fabrice? What do you think could be better at the moment with the French ecosystem? What's missing? Like, what improvements could there be that could speed up this growth here in the French ecosystem?
So, first of all, I think we need to think more widely. Maybe not just France. Maybe Europe is a better, playing field. At least that's the way I see it. Maybe some people will disagree. And it's all about education. I think it's the Romanian minister that said it just earlier. The people actually making the decisions, they usually don't understand what they're talking about. And the first reflex of people don't understanding something is actually to say, no, it's dangerous. And when you hear about people talking about crypto, it's always the same. It's absolutely scammy, it's just to rob people, and it's all the Ponzi scheme. Obviously, we know it's not the case, and it's our role to educate. So what we could do better in France is actually accelerate on this effort to teach our political representatives, to talk to them, to let them know that this is the way we see things. And when we actually talk about the values and not really the projects, I don't think any reasonable people could actually be opposed to these values in a democratic world. So everyone should agree to that. And the problem is really, how do we make them understand that the technology is not inherently bad? It's actually not the case. It's just technology. Look at what happened with Tornado Cash and all these topics. We are having right now a very important, we are at a cornerstone, I would say, where it's important that we explain to the political leaders that the world of tomorrow needs to be better than the world of yesterday. And if we don't make this right now, well, we will not only lose in France and Europe, but we might actually be creating the world that we don't want, the exact opposite of the world we want.
Very interesting. I think I would love to get Owen's take on this as well, because I believe you have founded 2, 3, or even 4 blockchain startups in France, below 25, by the way, just a small anecdote here. So what were the challenges and what could be better? What's the infrastructure like? What would be your wishes for founders?
Do you know why it's the most important platform an enterprise wants to set up an office in France?
I do not.
Because France is a passport for the whole European Union. That's why France is so important, and that's why, yes, we are leader in a lot of subjects that went free. We have to understand that it's a good thing to be a passport, because when you are regulated in France, you can operate in the whole European Union, yes, but we can do a lot of things better. For example, fiscality. Actually, in France, fiscality is not attractive. I'm not talking about putting a better fiscality for this year only, or for 2 or 5 years, just for the beginning of this technology. We have to be attractive because people have to build something here and start here in France. But actually, if we would need to focus on something very important, that will be the European regulation. That's why I'm also okay for saying that we have to educate the regulator. Because we are not talking about regulate cryptocurrencies, blockchain, Web3, or Metaverse. No, that's bullshit. We are talking about regulate interaction between European users to the blockchain. Because if tomorrow we ban Bitcoin, proof of work, Web3, or I don't know, we will not regulate and put an interdiction on this field. We will just regulate and put a ban between European Union and this technology. The blockchain, it's impossible to stop. People will continue to use it to create solutions, to create interaction, and with or without European users, we will develop this technology. And later, when we will realize that we are losing a lot of time, we will say, okay, as the internet, we have to change our position. We lost a lot of time, and time is money today, but also in this evolution and in this different technology. That's why we have to be more attractive. We have to continue to educate. It's a good thing to see our government say, yes, now we are talking about cryptocurrencies. Now we are understanding that blockchain is the future, and we have to take an important part in it. But we also have to propose a real legal frame to enable entrepreneurs to take some risk. We need to take some risk. We need people to take this risk, to create solution on this technology and to try something. That's why we need a better legal frame, I think.
Wow, amazing. So if you would say, please a round of applause. The next question was going to be for you, Owen, and I wanted to ask you whether you think France is ready, yes or no, in terms of adopting these new technologies. I believe you've covered, to a certain extent, your answer already, and I believe no country in the world is yet ready to embrace all this new technology and this new creativity that can come from these products, right? How do you feel that the actual builders are able to tap into the ecosystem and what resources do they have and what is missing in France that can foster and improve the speed of this adoption?
So it's funny because I will just go back to my last question, because the most famous and genius French builder on blockchain field leaves the country.
He left the country.
He left the country, sorry. Yeah,
maybe
already.
Maybe you know his name?
No, but it's more a list of names than a name. But I think they can come back here because we also have a lot of tools. But yes, that is a problem. In France, we need just more. We just need the right to take some risk. We need the right to try, to fail, and to try it again. We are, in a position that we have to, but we have no visibility. We need a lot of legal interpretation, and sometimes we are doing something and we don't know if we have the right or not. I will give you an example, just mining. Today, the same entrepreneur as me 5 years ago, I can create this company. And we can create 100 new posts in France in this technology. That's why we need more visibility, not only to have the right or not to do something. It's the regulation, that's not the question today, but we just need to know what is possible and where we can go today to build and what will be out of access tomorrow. Actually, we have a lot of questions about DeFi, for example, NFTs, that for the moment, it's impossible to say if it's risky or not to create a business, to make a fundraising. It's a lot of engagement. When you are raising money, you have to deliver something. You have to, especially in the blockchain field, everything is around trust. You will ask to your community a funding, some money, and you will build a solution for that. If you are building something, but you can't have this guarantee that tomorrow you will be able legally to distribute it, you can take this risk, and you prefer, because entrepreneurs have to take the risk on the market, not only on the regulation. That's why just a bit more visibility, and for the moment we are starting to go in this way. So everything is not to change, everything don't need to change today, but yes, I think we have to accelerate this way with the government, and we have to continue to propose a more clear legal frame and to go in this way.
I will have some reserve on that because we are all French around this table, and you got to just see a very French display of the risk appetite that we have. Let's imagine that the legal framework of NFT is unclear, which is unclear a little bit everywhere in the world, actually. Some entrepreneur can raise funds and say, but the risk is that the legal framework is unclear. And the venture capitalist that's going to invest on that knows it. The better they're going to average the time to market to this kind of legal risk. Here, we want visibility before stepping in. We have a big risk aversion, and we want to know the 2 or 3 or 4 steps forward. We need also to a little bit get rid of that. It's good as well that strong French entrepreneur leaves the country after a certain scale. It shows that we are a good incubator. Maybe to maintain big corporation or big system, we are less, but the context and just seeing champion rising and then leaving will make us to make them come back. Life is about adjustment. So right now, I would say that the challenge, and it has always been, and it has been the example with Ledger, but with Sorare as well, with you, Owen, as well, is to be able to create the next champion. So you were the first generation, and we all know that there's going to be a second and a third and a fourth generation. And we need to create those kind of generation. But for this, there is two things that French is missing, in a way. The first one is that since 30 years, French was not the leader of a lot of international companies that came and implant in France. It was French actors that were leader of their market, big banks, big actors, etc. Meaning that basically French systems, only French know how it works. Only French know how to make it operative. Employment, tax, all those kind of systems are very unreadable for foreign companies that come and set up. It looks AV. It's still not a plug-and-play nation in the sense where you can create a company in UK more simply. You have administrative facility everywhere. So those kind of elements need to be fixed as well if we want France to stay the leader, to attract and then gather. The second element is we need the French people that develop on blockchain, etc., to become global. So we didn't do how to do it in Web2, so please don't apply the same methodology to Web3. Admit that the way we try to deal it the next 5 years, or for the last 5 years, were the wrong way. Be humble, travel, go see the different parts of the world and their different vision of the blockchain. How could you be an actor of blockchain if you are not just a French actor? You need to be aware. And the next element is also be active inside the community of blockchain. And the community of blockchain, so we spoke a lot about community, etc. But community interact in different kind of channel. You know, the people that have developed a layer on top of Uniswap were on the community of Uniswap. So if you are aware, if you discuss a lot without any barrier, if you travel, etc., you're going to find the next trend emerge, you're going to be on the top of the wave. If you stay in France trying to solve French problem about a French point of view, I'm sorry, we are going to be the leader of the French, maybe.
Very interesting also that you mentioned Web2. That's the field that I originally come from. And I think we've seen tremendous success for Web2 startups from France. Algolia, Dailymotion, companies that have grown in France and then moved to the Valley and been adopted worldwide. So I guess you guys at Ledger have actually already paved the path forward with being a very international product that obviously services anybody in the world, right? So I believe that's exactly what we should do. If I may add the fact that all of you are French, I'm Italian and I can say I wish in Italy we had any ecosystem at all, right? So I believe France is definitely, amongst a few others in Europe, at the forefront of adopting this blockchain technology, which is really awesome. And I think the main also topic of today that we wanted to cover is the metaverse, right? Because it's this notion that sometimes gets misinterpreted or misunderstood. It's still very fresh. So I was curious to understand, how do you guys believe an ecosystem, a government actually, could benefit from a concept like the metaverse? Owen, do you want to go first?
That's very complex because it's very large. It's like internet or blockchain. Answers are multiple to this question. I really appreciate the way that Benjamin saw the first application of Elrond on that, because I think education is an important subject, because I like this subject personally, but that will be in different way. As we know, blockchain as just a technological layer that will change the world of sports, music, finance, communication, everything. So it's impossible to answer exactly to your question. But I think we need to understand two things. The first thing is, it's not possible. We have some material and technical unlock, so VR headset, but also phones, internet. We can easily access to this world everywhere in the world. And the second thing is, the second technical unlock, virtual uniqueness, digital uniqueness. Because of blockchain, we can create something virtual and add value on it. That's why virtual worlds are not traditional video game world because we can take part and we can hold a small part of this virtual world. This both technical unlock enable us to have the all ingredient to build the perfect experience. Metaverse, Web3, etc. Same thing on the Web 1, 2, and 3. Web 1, interaction, and we can read something. Web 2, we can read and write something. And Web 3, read, write, and own something virtual. But now we will need a lot of different use cases. And we have, I think, to start by a simple case. Because we always want to bring everything in the single time, and we will have to try something. We will have to fail, to keep a lesson in mind to this fail, and to propose a solution. Some very obvious applications for me are around vote, around digital identity. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure the DID will change a lot of things. Compliance process, also a problem of the regulation, holding its own identity on my ledger. That's what I wish to do. But also authentication, I think that will be one of the most obvious and near accessible use case that we can do in this world.
Very interesting. I actually would like to go with Fabrice next, because you mentioned ownership, then you mentioned data. We have a very important product in the Elrond ecosystem, Ethereum, who actually works with identity in the metaverse. When it comes to ownership, Fabrice, how do you think, how is Ledger thinking about this? How can users own a piece of the metaverse in a secure way?
So the first answer is to say that we look at it from a very agnostic perspective, because no one knows exactly what the metaverse will be next. We all have ideas. I heard a lot of people talking about virtual worlds. Maybe it's not even that. I don't know. Maybe it's more around e-commerce and a change of e-commerce. Maybe it will be something completely new that we never thought about. Just keep in mind that 15 years ago, no one would have imagined, or maybe some people, but everybody thought they were crazy, that you would be spending your Saturday night chilling around, looking at Netflix. That was not possible 15 years ago. No one could imagine it. So I don't know what the future will bring. I think no one knows. So that's why we must not restrict innovation. We need to let people try, fail, try again, and maybe succeed. But one thing is clear, and it's, again, around the values. What Owen said is actually right. The main difference between Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3 is that now you can own a piece of digital asset, something scarce. And it could be your identity, definitely. That's something Ledger is looking into. But it could be, NFTs or art. It could be swords in video games. It could be anything that you can think of. It could be just tokens to access specific, events, or even promo code on some websites. So all of this, we look at it from one angle and one angle only, which is if it's not decentralized and if it's not secure, it will not change Web 2. So if you have exactly the same experience, but it's decentralized and now you really own your data, now we can call it Web 3 in some way. If it's just around, having virtual world, I was already playing World of Warcraft, 10 years ago, and it was great, and it still works great. So why change? If there is not this added value of self-ownership and decentralization, and also governance, maybe that's the next big thing, well, what's the point? And really, Ledger is looking at it from this angle, okay? We are very humble in the way we look at it. We don't know what the metaverse is or will be. We just say, let's look at it and let's not make the same mistake. One thing around regulation, I don't know if you know, but Apple is changing its developer guidelines, specifically around NFTs. It's causing Ledger a lot of problem because we do support NFT on our products, and we have to take a close look at what is now available on iOS. If we don't move fast enough by making clear what the new rules are, what the new principles are, the big Web 2 actors will define them for us. And that's the big issue now. I mean, the Google and Amazon and Apple of this world, they will define what is allowed on Web 3, and that's not the world I want to be in.
The social network as well.
And social network, exactly, absolutely. Totally right.
All I can think of by looking at you is how can I own these amazing Binance sneakers in a secure way in the metaverse on Ledger, right?
Handmade one.
Nice shot.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, well, okay, so we talked a lot about, though, how this impacts users, right? How important is the metaverse for Binance specifically? I think everybody's curious.
It's very important, but for now, we are like everyone. We are observing what happened and what are the progress inside Metaverse. For now, sadly to say, no one really knows what Metaverse is. Everybody uses the term without even really understanding what it means. I'm very glad that you spoke about World of Warcraft and all this kind of thing, because my theory is that Metaverse exists since a long time. Metaverse is just a virtual space where people spend time. After, with a headset, with a keyboard, with a screen, etc., we don't care. It's where a community meet and act, interact, etc. So all the MMORPG, Final Fantasy XIV, etc., could be considered as a metaverse. And as you said, since 10, 15 years, we didn't own any data and it was okay. So we need now to understand, and we need not the community to define what is the things that they want to own, what is the kind of experience that have value for them, etc., etc., to be able to go to the next step. Right now, everyone is very exploratory, and everyone is making his theory, meta included. We need now to define, to confirm the theory, and we need also the community to take a stance, in a way. But for this, we need the good experience. You know, iPhone gave the right device for internet to grow and for Web2. You didn't order a Uber from your desktop. You order a Uber from your iPhone, from your smartphone. We need the tool of the metaverse. What will it be? Will it be a headset? Will it be another one? I'm not here to define it. Will it be a ledger? Connected to a headset? Connected to... I don't know yet. But we need those kind of elements to be implemented, to be able to then explore, grow, and put the metaverse into the spotlight.
Yeah, very interesting. My next question is for you, Hasheur. I believe there's a commonality that everybody says the metaverse is coming, but at the same time, everybody doesn't want to commit or describe it too accurately. So nobody really knows how it will actually look. There's actually a movie called Ready Player One, which maybe showcases in the best form how the metaverse will look like. So my question for you is, how do you think it will look like, and what sort of application do you think will enable us to actually experience the metaverse firsthand?
I just changed my mind to the last panel, because I realized that if we need an headset and if we need a complete immersion, we will not propose the metaverse to everyone. But my first definition of the metaverse is, yes, it's a new world, but it's not only a question of story, like World of Warcraft, of League of Legends world. It's more than this. It's also an interaction. The first time when I played to Oculus, I was playing with my IT officer, and I was trying for the first time. My headset, I take the control of my character, and I remember we are playing in a zombie video game. We have to kill some zombie. So I remember the first moment where I understood that that virtual reality, not metaverse, virtual reality is powerful. That was a moment I just opening a bomb and I make a fail. You know, it's not a bomb in France, in Grenade.
It's a...
A grenade.
A grenade. Easy. Yes. So, and I just want to open it and I make a fail. Yeah. So the grenade just fall between my leg and I saw my friend in the headset. I just moved my head and I saw my friend, and the character of my friend said, just that. I feel more than a word, more than a sound. That was the context, the situation. That was very funny. Not only because we are playing to the video game and I failed with my bomb, no. Because I feel that my friend saw me as a noob in a new video game and just realized that, oh God, this noob. This situation, this context changed everything. I think for me, metaverse will be also a question of inclusion, yes, but also of immersion. It's not just a video game. We have World of Warcraft and we have a lot of very good video games that you can spend your time with a community. But we need to go a bit further. We need to interact. We need to feel other people more than a hangout call, or we need really to interact with non-language talk, it's called the non-verbal things. That will be the different, and I think we can communicate with the different technology today, but also with value that's now able by blockchain thing and tokenization, etc.
So you mentioned different technology. That's my next question for the panel here. So Fabrice and David, you jump in, whoever wants to add here. We talk about tools, right? And we have a lot of builders here in the room, a lot of founders aspiring to build great companies on Elrond, on MultiversX. So what are the tools available, either by Binance or by Ledger or by the ecosystem, that can help developers, try to build something in the metaverse?
Yeah. Do you go first?
No, go ahead.
So on our end, what we provide, and one of my colleagues just earlier said it, it's really we're trying to give any developers, whether it is on Elrond or in any blockchain, the capacity to leverage ledger technology to build whatever they want. That's really the guiding principle. We're not here to restrict or to judge which project is valid or is not. And so it might be a video game or something VR related where at some point ledger technology will be involved. I'd love that, but there are use cases that are not really linked to video games, like you talked about social networks. Yeah. A decentralized social network where you can actually own your data, maybe not all your tweets, but maybe just, we already know about profile pictures, but it could be much more, like my list of friends. Secured by Ledger would be something interesting. So what we do is we provide a set of tools through a dev portal and a lot of different APIs that you can use to actually try stuff and build something. Now, what will you build? Honestly, it's not up to me to say. It's really to the builders to actually try something. Yeah. And we'll see what results. But to me, what I get from these discussions around the metaverse is a branch of people are really into this virtual reality thing, which honestly I'd love to see, just because I'm a fan of the movie. But I also think that Ready Player One is just one way to look at it. A decentralized social network with a flat screen on your mobile phone, like you're doing today, is just as much a metaverse as a virtual world would be, as long as it's interconnected with other services. So I want to be able to have my identity on a decentralized Twitter and then reuse it in a virtual World of Warcraft-like video game. And the fact that it's all interoperable is really what makes it powerful. Ledger is not here to, needs to be here at every corner to be securing every single potential dApps, basically.
Understood. I believe you would like to expand?
There is a multiple frame where Binance operates. The first one is the most evident one on the exchange. Most of the biggest metaverse inside Binance are represented inside Binance. Decentraland, Elrond, and all those elements are tokens that you can acquire, and you can play the game of liquidity on this. We have one of the biggest liquidity. It helps the project to expand. This is the first panel. The second panel is more derivative. It's about the technology that we put on top. Trust Wallet, BNB Chain, all those kind of ecosystems that we help and that we also own. And Trust Wallet is open source technology. So they are reusable. And they are compatible with not only BNB Chain, but a whole mainframe of Explorer. And after, there is the accompaniment to the startup, which is, for me, a little bit the problem of French people. French people will try to go always on the third axis, where basically you're going to have it if you complete the first two missions in a way. You cannot come and say, I have an idea I want to discuss with you. No. You have to have an idea. You have to have a good execution. You have to have a good team. You have to have a good community. You have to have a whole round set of parameters that on the checklist shows that actually it's the right people with the right idea, with the right mind, at the right moment that are in front of us. And this is something that is key. To make that happen, you cannot just come with an idea. You have to come, compare, listen to your community, be an actor of community, etc., to be there. So, for me, we, as an actor of the ecosystem, also gave an impact. When we came to France, a lot of VC, a lot of Element looked at company in France, not only us, but a lot of other VCs, Switzerland VCs that didn't used to invest into Parisian startup, decided to go there and decided to implement themselves. We saw some case in Station F. So we have this indirect and direct approach to it.
Amazing. I believe that there's actually a number of projects within the Elrond MultiversX ecosystem who are either in the first stages of building a metaverse and are making land sales and are really trying to build something important and creative. And yeah, hopefully one day these will be able to integrate with Ledger and have their users' assets in a secure way. One day maybe they will join one of your incubators, or they will come say hi. Maybe one day be listed on Binance, we never know. And obviously, Hasheur, if you could educate people about these projects and what goes on in the metaverse here in France, I believe the whole community will appreciate. So, Fabrice, thank you so much. David, amazing, great stuff. Owen, great. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Right, good stuff. Nice. Thank you.
Merci.
Thank you. Thank you.
Every single bit of life, everything we've ever known, and everyone we've ever met, all started from a single point. A speck, a flicker, a single cell of life. But what is life, if but a brief, stubborn wonder? A dim light, a spark at times, pointing to an ever larger scope and scale, about to expand to a new world, one founded and sustained by the bursting force of imagination. This world we now call the Metaverse. Could we at once capture the essence of a universe encompassing the entire observable cosmos, but also the metaverse encompassing myriad digital realms, rearranging them with one word, not as opposites or replacements, but as a harmonious, expanding, complementary whole? We believe we can and must. This we call the multiverse. It is said, in the beginning, there was a word of such strength and vigor that it could sharply set a rare creation moment in motion. The beginning of a vast world of worlds. The opening of a portal between worlds, and the forging of the very fabric securing it all. This is our new challenge, our new vision, our expansion and transformation. This new dawn we call MultiversX.